continue to put them out year after year. So it's a great event, and if you have any questions, certainly I'll be here. You can ask me a question now if you'd like. Otherwise, the forms are over there, the flyers over there. Kathy used to do it with us. We have a lot of people here who do it. So it's a great, great event. Thank you.
Thanks, Fred. Yeah, if you want to run over to the table and see if there's anything you want before we get started. The what? I don't know. I don't know what to do. Yeah.
I'll take it with paper, and then we'll transfer it. No, yes?
I don't have anything to go by. I don't know.
He doesn't know.
Okay. At Borough Board, the other night, we had some presentations, and I don't know if you guys want to do it now before the meeting starts. It's up to you. Give him a microphone, please. You're in charge of the microphone. Who's the guy? Let him talk. Let him talk. You having a problem? Wait for Donald, he's coming. All right. All right, we'll wait.
Over here.
We'll wait, everything's coming. And he just came in with everything.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. All right, so where is it? I thought I saw him brought everything in. Where's the sign-in? And the bucket. Sorry about the delay. Where's the, Gary? Where's the box? Oh, it's over there? Okay, so John's got everything, all your papers. If you go collect your mails and sign in, board members, please. And anyone wishing to speak at the public forum, I think John's got that signed in also. So you go over there, please. Thank you. So whoever's wishing to speak under the public forum, come see me, please. Public forum. Oh, it's coming around. Come on. Anyone wishing to speak under the public forum, please come up and sign in. I have it here. Please try to get your mail and sign in and find a seat so we get started. Who's on the video?
Where's the sign-in sheet, over here?
We're going to go online at 8 o'clock, please. Where are the ladies?
See you there.
7 more minutes and we're going to get started. 8 o'clock.
We went online to get
Oh, okay. You're online? Good. Thank you. Everyone, please sign in.
I have a babysitter.
I'm sorry?
I have a babysitter with my kids, so I can't take next to
Oh, well, you know it's going to run late. That's okay. Okay.
every time he sees me, don't tell him I was making a gosh.
Okay, everybody got their mail? Are we all organized now? I'd like to welcome you all to the regularly scheduled Community Board 5 meeting. Sorry we're a little late, but things are hectic, so if you bear with us. The way we usually open this meeting with the salute to the flag. This month is a little special. We're commemorating the 81st year of the landing of the Allied troops on Normandy, where some 40,000 Allied troops died, wounded, maimed. Most of them were Americans at Omaha Beach. So when you salute the flag, let's remember those people. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business tonight is a presentation on flooding by Alfonso Lopez from the Borough Commissioner of the City of New York and Department of Environmental Protection. Alfredo, thank you.
Okay, hello. Oh, this is a really good one. This is probably like the loudest one I've had so far. Good evening, everybody. I'm Alfonso Lopez, the new, it's been a couple months, but new Queens Commissioner for DEP. This is a brand new role that they've created. Like I tell folks, we're building this plane as we're flying it. Fortunately, I know that I bug Gary maybe a little more than he bugs me, and we've been able to get a lot of really good relationship, really good intel on all manner of things happening in the neighborhood. So I just want to open up by thanking the leadership here of the community board for the partnership. What is the role? The role is basically a liaison between the community. That's community boards, electeds. We've also expanded that to precinct councils, civic associations, homeowners associations, really anywhere that we can be helpful to get information back, especially when there's folks are putting in 311s and not seeing any movement on it, or there's questions for the agency. I'm going to give it to you a couple times, but my contact is queensdep@dep.nyc.gov. Again, queensdep@dep.nyc.gov. That goes to me and my team. And so we can address issues quickly. I always say is for accountability, please CC the community board leadership, your council member, borough president, whatever electeds you treat with regularly. Just good to have an extra pair of eyes and keep us accountable as we're building this new office out. So for time's sake, I'll just go right through this presentation. What we're doing is, again, new office. We're trying to approach this in a more proactive way. We're going to every single community board and talking about flooding ahead of storm season. Storm season begins June, goes through November, hits New York particularly around August. So the idea is to go and talk about these things ahead of time. If it's a scratch record and you know all these things already, then take it as a reminder for the folks who haven't heard it. It's a good, just a couple tips to keep in mind, particularly for homeowners. I know this area has a lot of issues with when the rains get high and there's ponding, flooding going into the lower levels of homes. So we can talk more about that in a minute. So if we don't mind, if we can go to the next slide. What do we look at? We look at flooding from three sources: stormwater, water coming down, coastal flooding, and groundwater. We can go to the next one. We keep in mind the effects of climate change with the incident of more regular and more intense storms. The ones that we have listed here in August of 21, Henry, that dropped 1.94 inches of rain an hour. Following that, Ida, which was 3.15 inches an hour. Obviously, we all remember Sandy. And our system is designed to handle 1.5 to 1.75 inches an hour. So whenever we see these numbers exceed, that's when we start seeing some issues come up. So what are the issues? Sewer backups and overflows. 60% of the city has combined sewers that carry wastewater away from the home and stormwater from the rains. During rainstorms, when that number exceeds the 1.5, 1.75, that's where you start seeing issues of water coming up through the manholes, through the catch basins. If there's cracks in the basement or there's fixtures like the sinks, toilets, or drains, you can see that coming into basements. Groundwater flooding is just what I was just talking about, particularly in areas that have a high groundwater table, or when there's saturation from a prolonged storm or prolonged series of storms, you can see water fill in and come in through some of those points of entry into the home. Water always finds the path of least resistance, and so it finds those cracks. We always tell folks, be mindful, take a look at some of those in the basement of the home. And this one, like I mentioned, hurricane season. We really look at it June through November. August is sort of when it hits us here. And we're trying to come out here, because a lot of times what we'll get is the storm is right above us, water's coming into the home, and we get the call, hey, DEP, come and pump the water out. But during a storm, we're going to be pumping water out that's going to come right back in. So we're trying to focus on prevention. And we'll talk a little bit about what tools we have in our toolkit to mitigate some of these effects. So our toolkit includes what we call blue, green, gray infrastructure, also includes regulation and real-time monitoring. Like I said, our sewers handle 98% of our rain events. They're designed for the 1.5, 1.75 inches per hour. We've made a significant amount of investment. Our 10-year capital plan includes $8.2 billion with a B for sewer system upgrades, and over 100 projects that are in the pipeline for the next 5 years, totaling $3.6 billion in investment. Green infrastructure is something that you'll see a lot, particularly with rain gardens, as you see here in the top photo, medians, as you see in the one below. These are essentially, think of them as sponges. These are areas that can absorb water, take water away from the street that then flows into the system to buy the system time to keep that number under the max capability to prevent that water from, it's better for it to go in there than to go into the street or into homes. With green infrastructure, a lot of times folks will be like, hey, my neighbor has one, I see one down the street, I want one. So while there isn't necessarily a request for these, we do take into account when folks have shown interest, and we relay that to the team for their consideration as they're going through the borough. Stormwater rule is something I really want to emphasize. Not a lot of folks are familiar with it, but in 2022, DEP increased the amount of stormwater that new and redeveloped properties have to manage on site. What does that mean? Before a new or redeveloped project moves forward, before they get the sign off from DEP, they have to show us how they're going to manage water that falls into their footprint from storms. Folks will say, hey, this big new building is coming in. A lot more folks are going to be flushing, brushing, and showering. Can the system manage that? There's less concern with that causing an overflow and more with the stormwater that's coming down because of the intensity and frequency of storms. And so managing that footprint essentially puts the buck on them and takes the burden off of folks paying their water bill. And this is the meat of it. What can you do to protect your home from flooding? I'm just going to show you these two docs. I have them up front. I'm going to leave them here for you. I actually put it on the table with all the other shared materials. These two, I don't like to bring things just for the sake of it. These are practical, short, and useful. What we'll go through here in a second is our Rainfall Ready Guide. It's a graphic that has several recommendations that can be useful for homeowners to prevent water from coming in. The other is the 2024 Water Quality Report. This is where we talk about all the different things that we do to make sure that the water, when we transport 1 billion gallons of water a day, 125 miles from the reservoirs all the way to the Rockaways, that we make sure that every time you turn on the tap, it's clean, it's safe, and as a point of Queen's pride, the best tasting water on the planet. Champagne of water is the reason why we have the best bread, bagels, pizza, yada, yada, yada. So going back to the slides, converted basements, that's our cover sheet. And the reason it is like I said, water goes to the path of least resistance. If you have pitched driveways, we always tell folks, be mindful of points of entry and exit through those areas. Rain comes down and it starts coming up, it's going to find those areas, those low-lying areas to accumulate. Always good to put barriers near some of those doorways, some of the windows, and just be mindful of, if folks are down there, making sure they have a point of entry and egress, so we don't have folks stuck down there if water starts coming up. And there's different devices that you can use to get warnings. I know I don't always go into the basement, but flood sensor, like you see here on the floor there, we always recommend putting something like that near a drain, near some of those fixtures or windows. When it gets wet, it gives you an auditory warning, similar to when you have a fire alarm, carbon monoxide alarm. It just gives you a loud auditory warning, so you're like, hey, something's going on, let me go check it out. And you can address issues before they become bigger issues. Sump pumps. Now, what I always like to say with sump pumps, yes, having one can be handy. We do recommend extending the hose 10 to 15 feet from the property so it doesn't just come right back in. But like I said before, prevention is always key. During a particularly bad storm, pumping water out may just be coming right back in. So blocking, checking for cracks, checking for any of those is always more recommended. Rerouting downspouts is something we talk about often. A lot of times you'll hear that in the context of, disconnected from the system. So you're not just funneling water faster into the system, causing that cascade of water to overtake it. Connected to a rain barrel, what I do like to mention when we talk about rain barrels is this is water you collect that you can then use in your garden or for other purposes. And any water you save is money you save. And little things that each one of us can do. During a storm, it's good to wait to use devices, particularly some of the big devices like washing machines, your dishwashers, or even just day-to-day stuff with your sinks and all. If I do it, may not have a big effect, but if all of us take some steps to reduce the use of water during a storm, that's less water that's being funneled into the system, and that buys us time so water doesn't flow back into your home or your neighbor's homes. And trash it, don't flush it. I always like to talk about this, not just in terms of the individual, but also businesses. We do reach out to businesses around the neighborhoods with different things to cater to them. Trash it, don't flush it really focuses on not putting things down the toilet that even if they're on the label, like some of these wipes, disposable wipes, flushable wipes, they're not flushable. It's important to throw those out. Same thing with grease, putting grease in a container and throwing that out. Any of those that go into the toilet, go into the pipes, can accumulate. They can cause those infamous fatbergs that you may have heard about. It's collections of grease and other material, and then it essentially gives a heart attack to the system. We got to go and claw that out. But before that, a lot of times we know that's happening because water's starting to pool. So just avoiding that. Big one to close off with is homeowners insurance. We do have AWR, American Water Resources. That is an option that you can get on your water bill, and it appears on your water bill. I like to tell folks just whatever homeowners insurance you have, or if you want to look at AWR as an option, the important thing is to have coverage, have adequate coverage, and know what you have. You don't want something to happen and then have to get a 3-day notice and have to rush to get a plumber without coverage. That can be more pricey. The water main back, that's the responsibility of the city. Anything that happens with that, we take care of. But anything that happens from the service line into the home is the homeowner's responsibility, and this provides that coverage. And our sister agencies also have good resources. This is Office of Emergency Management, has Notify NYC. It's an app that goes in your phone, gives you alerts relevant to our agency, it's storms and weather, but also all manner of situations that you may want to be aware of for your own safety and your family's safety. Same with some of the federal programs. NOAA, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, has their app about tides. And along the federal line, the National Flood Insurance Program has some resources available through FEMA in the event of a weather emergency. And with that, also looking at your evacuation zone. I know throughout life, the folks are always saying, look at if in the event of something happening, how would you get your family together, your neighbors together, and go to a safe place. City officials will give notices. There will be notices on the news. But it's also good just before that happens, just to know, what your plan would be. And that's as quick as I've run through it. Again, my contact is queensdep at dep.nyc.gov. Where that can be most useful to you is any 301s that you're putting through, any issues that you're seeing, my scratch record is put in 301s. If you see anything from a dirty catch basin to ponding to flooding matters, put in a 301. If you're not seeing movement, send an email to me at that email with preferably, if you can, send the 301 number, a brief description, photo or video if possible. And like I said, CC one of your electeds or the CB just so that we have eyes on it. And with that, Gary, if it's okay, I'm happy to take questions.
Anything? Walter? No, stand up, tell them who you are, where you're from.
Walter Clay from Miller Village, the bioswales, what are they doing for maintenance? Because they put these things in and then they look like a jungle. They don't come and take care of it. They look horrible. The weeds are up to here, garbage, all kinds of stuff in there. What are they doing to keep it clean?
So they have regular maintenance, but what I would say is if you're not
No, they don't.
but if you're not seeing it, send me a note to the email that I just gave. I've gotten those before. We've gotten folks out there to do maintenance. So that helps put priority on some of these areas that aren't getting attention.
Since they put them in.
Send me the addresses. We'll take care of it.
Yes. Tell them who you are,
Yes.
where you're from,
Hi, Lee Rotenberg, Middle Village. A question about the
your
biospheres.
name.
Lee Rotenberg, Middle Village. With the biospheres, sometimes I see that they have like cuts to go into the street so the water will flow into them. Oftentimes it's on a slope and I can't see how water will flow into the biosphere instead of going down the slope like on the street. So I was just wondering about that.
Sure. I know that part of the info that I've gotten when folks particularly ask, like, hey, I want one here, I want one there, is that there has to be, they investigate to make sure that there's drainage directly under it. I can ask specifically if there's locations that you're seeing that where it's cut out. I'm happy to take those locations, bring it back to the team and get info on why that's the case. But they're designed to absorb water directly, to hold water there and bring it down. Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, closest to me first, again, you got a microphone. You're in charge of those microphones, by the way. Who are you, where are you from, what is your subject?
Hi, Commissioner Daniel Heredia from Ridgewood. I have a question. I've learned this through my job, but we've heard that we're not able to, as residents of the community, not able to request new catch basins, especially in places on the street where we see there's a lot of ponding, and I don't believe there's a DEP is installing new catch basins. So I'm curious if you can provide some clarity on why that is and what can we do if we know there's a spot on the street that needs more drainage.
No, that's a good question. I would say for the latter part, if there's areas that you're seeing ponding, water collecting, it could be any number of things. So again, I know it's a scratch record, but get me the info, get me the address. I'm happy to go take a look at it. But it could be any manner of things. I don't know that we directly request catch basins in particular areas. Sometimes that won't necessarily fix the issue. I was at one in South Queens earlier today. Ended up not being a catch basin. It was a seepage basin, which those are the ones that take a little more time to collect water. And it was just a matter of cleaning it out. There was some obstructions in there, and the water was flowing a little more fluidly. Still, those can take a little while. So there's a lot of different things that we can employ or we can look at. Sometimes it really is just a matter of going in. There's a lot of accumulation, and we can go and like dig it out, and sometimes that'll take care of it. Sometimes it needs a bigger project. So I would say same as the others. If there's particular areas, send me the addresses, if you have photos, and I'll send it to the team, and I'm also happy to come out and take a look.
Okay, so make sure staff has that question. Who else you got over there?
Hi, Betsy Chen, Ridgewood. So I am very interested in rain barrels, and I guess I'm curious if you have any advice for anyone, whether they should, any recommendations on how to install them, and is there are there materials on DEP's website, or is it YouTube is my best friend?
So I've heard a combination of things. I definitely have heard that we'll recommend folks that wherever you are comfortable shopping, like there are, the Home Depots, the Lowe's have them, the other online ones have them. In terms of requirements, I don't believe we have that on our website. I can actually go back and ask, because that could be a very interesting graphic that we can include in the next one. I'm hoping to come back in 6 months and do a winter one, but we'll talk about that later.
Thank you.
But maybe we can include something like that. But if you would give me your contact, or if you want to email me the question, we can relay that to you. And that's something I would relay to the CB also, just so that they have that to share with people.
Again, give that question to Gary, he'll follow up. Who
Gary?
else we got back there?
Hi.
I can't see you, so stand up, please.
Okay. Jess Boyardi, Middle Village. How are you educating the youth? Is there a program in school that you guys come into? Because I know my daughter she'll put anything in the toilet and flush it. And no matter what we say at home, I'm just wondering if you guys come into schools and educate them as well.
No, that's a good question. I know we have a dedicated education team. They sit literally right behind me. They talk about all manner of things. They have a really great trout and eel program where they teach the kids about ecology, and then they take them upstate to release them. And they cover a whole swath of different things. I can ask if they're specific to this kind of presentation. I know that now that there's this role, I've been going to every single community board to educate folks on these things. We also do it through social. We do it through press events, either individually with sister agencies or with the mayor's office. So we really do try to get the word out there. But some of the best ideas come from the community. So if there's ever any ideas like that you're like, hey, this will be useful to this group or this neighborhood or what, send it to us and we can relay it to the education team.
Thank you. Over here.
Eric Botkowitz, Middle Village. So we covered a lot today on the effect of the flooding locally, so like the localized effects. And I gotta say the work DEP has been doing has definitely been working, at least in Community Board 5. Because if you look back 10 years ago, the flooding then versus now, it's a drastic difference. But there's another part of that equation which affects Queens County as a whole, which is very important. And this is when these periods of flooding happen, you get the overflow that goes into Jamaica Bay, the Newtown Creek. And we just had a presentation from the EPA not long ago on the remediation work that's being done as a Superfund site to Newtown Creek. And we hear all the time about Jamaica Bay and the wildlife protection there too. And I think those are really important parts of Queens County that we're trying to clean up. So the other portion of this equation is the flooding in the community and how we're mitigating it so our houses and garages and basements don't get flooded. But then there's that other aspect of it collectively. Now the flooding's in the sewage system, and I know some of this helps with the catch basins and the bioswales. But what type of efforts are being done system-wide to present that sewage overflow into Jamaica Bay, Newtown Creek, and other locations so we could protect our natural wildlife habitats here and have nice, these nice environments to go to and keep the beauty of Queens County going, hopefully for generations to come.
Yeah, and that's definitely something we take into account also. Like you said, part of it is ensuring that we keep folks safe through day to day. Also with some of these bigger storms and bigger occurrences that hopefully don't happen as frequently, but we definitely have seen impact the neighborhood. We have a whole area that covers water treatment and water treatment before it goes back out into the waterways. We also have folks dedicated that look at the symbiotic relationship that we have with water and wildlife, all the way from upstate where we have our reservoirs all the way down. I can pull something together pretty easy just to show you kind of like a layout of what all that entails and hand it over to the community board. But we do have a whole apparatus that looks at both ends of that.
Thank you. Thank you. Nothing else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item of business is the public forum. Again, it's no personal attacks, no foul language. Ask you to stick to your subject. You're going to have 2 minutes, and then you'll hear the gong, and you're finished. So the first speaker is Andy Gazouvis on rent laws.
Greek name, okay?
Tell us your name again.
Okay, my name is Andrew Gazoulis. It's a Greek name, okay? And I've been in Ridgewood for 40 years as a broker and owner of real estate. My way of getting to you people is that if you're a rent-stabilized person, that's the people I want to appeal to. I want you to listen to 3 things that are wrong, and there are many other reasons that are wrong with the system that the city is hurting us with. Number one, the court systems are too slow to evict tenants because now tenants have a way of just staying there and not paying a thing. I have $100,000 in debt, and I'm not going to recover anything, and I had trouble paying taxes. Number 2 is that vacant apartments is the greatest opportunity in the world for contractors, for our economy, is to let landlords allow them to get good rents for vacant apartments, not just $190 extra money, and that's all they can get charged. Can only charge up to $15,000 in renovation work, and cost them $30,000 or $40,000. So they keep it vacant. There's no reason to. There's no motivation there. And number 3, the lead paint situation is getting out of hand. The thing is, with lead paint, they want you to sheetrock the walls to make sure that the gun doesn't penetrate. There are paints, there are coverings that you can do. It's very simple. Right now, if they did the analysis, anybody could do it. I wish the paper could do it. I wish somebody could do it. The amount of lead paint poisoning to kids right now is like plummeting. It's practically 0. And 80 to 90% of the lead paint problems comes from the lead in the water pipes. The lead in the water pipes. Okay, those are 3 things. Okay, I can go on with a list of a lot of other things. But to make my little plea in very short and simple, well, we want change, big change. And the only way we're going to get change is to strike. How do people, employees, when they want demands, how do they do they strike and don't work? I'm begging people to write in when they get their taxes July 1st, I'm not going to pay my taxes unless we have changes in the rent laws in New York City. And that's the only way it's going to happen, the only way we're going to get change. And I'll give you one little...
You got to wrap up.
Okay. One little example how bad it is. The city council says no matter what problem you have with your heating and hot water, they can fine you, whether you repair it right on the spot.
Thank
4
you.
degrees difference in temperature and one thing, they're fining you. Look, idea, don't pay your taxes if
Thank
you're a rent
you.
stabilized tenant.
Next speaker, Jinri Lee. And please,
Yeah.
if I screwed up your
That was
name-
actually, whoa, very impressive. You were quite correct. Sinray Lee. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sinray. I'm the Community Engagement Specialist from the New York City Independent Budget Office. So actually, I thought I would speak at the electeds portion because we're a city agency, so do not confuse us with that. But we're independent in the sense that we are a nonpartisan agency, and our primary function is to provide data-driven insights into the policy and the budget to the general public. Our communications team is relatively new, that's me, and we're accepting requests for projects from the general public. If you have a budget question, you can send it in to us. Getting ahead of myself. So IBO, the Independent Budget Office, publishes mandated reports each year on the mayor's budget plans. So we do independent analyses of these plans. We just released our analysis of the executive budget in the lead up to the adopted budget. If you're not familiar with all these budget plans, I definitely recommend that you come for our upcoming Budget 101 workshop. So you should follow us, NYC IBO, and you'll hear about when that's happening. Otherwise, we also publish reports throughout the year on various government services, programs, and anything to do with the budget. We have a team dedicated to education, housing, environment, infrastructure, et cetera, et cetera. So go to our website, you can see what reports we have published, and if you have any questions regarding the budget, definitely write into info@ibo.nyc.gov. I have some flyers that has all that information. We also do Budget 101 presentations, like I mentioned, and we have one for school budget specifically coming up. So if you're interested to learn how to look at your school budget, where you're gonna find all that information, you can look at your specific school's budget and we'll walk you through all of that and tell you what a school allocation memorandum is, which actually I need to learn myself. They're happening July 8th and 9th at different times, so take a look. There will be flyers. Thank you.
Jinri, is the Independent Budget Office a city agency or a private organization?
We are a city agency, yeah, which is why I thought I would speak at the electeds portion, but then here I am. So if you have questions, maybe if you'd be willing to give me a moment to, if anyone has questions.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you. Next, we have Duncan Ballantyne from Ridgewood Rides.
Excellent. Hello. Good evening, everybody. My name is Duncan Ballantyne. I'm a resident of Ridgewood from Ridgewood Rides. Missed last month's meeting for a work commitment, so I'm happy to be back. Ridgewood Rides, for those who don't know, we're a neighborhood cycling group that focuses on advocating for safer streets for cyclists through cycling infrastructure. Just sharing a quick recap of some recent community events that we held. So last month, beginning of May, we officially launched our Complete the Connections campaign with a group ride highlighting areas all throughout Community Board 5 that is focusing on interconnecting Ridgewood and the surrounding neighborhoods through expanded and improved bike infrastructure and a bike network. We ended that campaign launch with free pizza for the community and stories from riders about when they felt unsafe on the streets as a cyclist. And we were joined by Claire Valdez, who gave remarks as well, Assemblymember Claire Valdez. So we launched our petition. Check it out at ridgewoodrides.org. We're excited to work with Community Board 5 on this. And then May 4th, we were present at the Myrtle Ave Street Fair with tabling and reaching out to the community. We had another great community event on May 17th where we partnered with PS 290 and the PTA for a family-friendly ride. We had 60 youngsters and their parents join us for a short 2-mile ride around the neighborhood. It was a sight to see, and it was really amazing, and it went to the Bike Fest at Grover Cleveland Park. So we were thrilled to partner with PS 290 and more of the community. Lastly, we have a couple upcoming rides to check out. Saturday, June 14th, this Saturday, to Red Hook. It's going to be a really beautiful day, 20-miler. Come check it out if you want to jump on the bike. And then next week, June 19th, a local ride around Bushwick. So follow us on Instagram, Ridgewood Rides, or check us out at ridgewoodrides.org for more information about our events and rides and advocacy efforts. Thank you all, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you. Next, we have Joseph Pizzullo on e-bike regulations.
Hello. Hi, my name is Joe Pizzullo. I am from Middle Village, right off 85th Street and Elliott Avenue. I wanted to talk about the overregulation of e-bikes in this city and my opposition to the proposed 15-mile-an-hour speed limit for e-bikes. For me, the e-bike has been a really affordable alternative to parking and the exorbitant car insurance that we have in this city. And limiting these bikes to 15 miles an hour would really, thank you very much, would really limit their capability as an affordable alternative for car ownership for people who just need to make 5, 10-mile commutes every day to get to work. Now, these regulations are being proposed because of an increase in e-bike related injuries, but when it comes to e-bike related injuries, there are about like 20, 30, maybe 60 any given year. Meanwhile, or when it comes to serious injuries and fatalities, there are 600 car accidents every month. And nobody's talking about slowing down the cars, but they are talking about slowing down bikes, which already, most of them can only go 20 miles an hour, down to 15 miles an hour. I don't have any more points to take, so I'll let the next speaker take their time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. With that, we'll close the public forum. Next item of business is the chairperson's report.
Who's that?
And that's me currently, Vincent Arcuri, chairperson. I want to go over, since we have elections and voting, I want to go over the attendance. So Gail Grabowski is not here. Is that correct? Fred Heffley is not here. Paul Kersner is not here. Diego Leclerc is not here. Diego, would you step up and sign in, please? 14 demerits.
Come on, Eddie, I'm right here. I'm just very squiggly. Very
That's a signature, okay. No, he's got a little dip. Ed Latow is not here. Melissa Rebecca's not here. Ted Renz is not here. Alex Ritter, not here. Robin Rodriguez, not here. Robin said she was going to see me.
Raven's sick.
Enriquez Rosa, not here. Lily Scarbano, not here. Barbara Toscano's not here. Sebastian Vivas, not here. We have with us Gary Giordano, our district manager, John Meyer, our community associate. Kathy O'Leary did our work at the office. Okay. And we'll go over elected official reps. And again, please, if you have something submitted in writing, if you have something to say, do it briefly because we have a busy schedule tonight. Representing the mayor is Kevin Morris. Kevin? Thank you for coming, by the way.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, everyone. I'll be very quick tonight. Two very quick announcements on public safety and quality of life. The first is that the mayor would like to announce on behalf of himself and Commissioner Tisch that year-to-date, since January 1st through May 31st, New York City has actually recorded its lowest number of homicides year-to-date. So that is something that we want to thank the NYPD for their continued work in keeping our streets safe, and we hope to keep the rate down as the year continues. The other thing that we will announce tonight is that the mayor recently held a press conference where we announced that since the start of the administration and our Operation Padlock to Protect, we have closed over 1,400 illegal smoke shops across the city and seized over $95 million in paraphernalia. So this is part of our effort to make sure that we are continuing to close these illegal smoke shops. Where we are closing them, we hope to open reputable either smoke shops or other local businesses as well. So where you are continuing to see these, please make sure that you are letting the community board know. The community board will let us know, and we will continue to close these illegal smoke shops. So thank you very much. Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers here tonight, and have a wonderful summer, everyone.
Thank you. No one here is from the controller's office. No one here from the public advocate office. Representing the borough president is Claire Collins. Claire?
Hi guys, my name is Claire from the Office of Borough President Donovan Richards. Happy Pride Month. The Borough President is doing everything he can at the local level to protect the trans and queer folks that are being targeted by this administration. I only have one event to announce, which is on Wednesday, July 16th. We're hosting our Columbia Independence Day celebration at Queensborough Hall. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Representing the district attorney is Kate Bohm.
Good evening, everybody. Yesterday, Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz announced that Bernardo Raul Castro Mata was sentenced to 28 years in prison for shooting police officer Richard Urusso in the lower chest area and police officer Christopher Abreu in the leg. The officers attempted to stop the defendant on June 3rd, 2024, for driving the wrong way on a one-way street in East Elmhurst without a helmet on an unregistered motorcycle. DA Katz said, "It is simply a miracle that officers Richard Urusso and Christopher Abreu are alive today. These brave officers attempted to stop this defendant after he was observed riding his motorcycle the wrong way on Ditmars Boulevard and driving on the sidewalk with pedestrians present. As the officers attempted to arrest him, he produced a gun and shot both of them at extremely close range, one in the chest, the other in the leg." Mata pleaded guilty on May 20th to attempted murder in the second degree and assault in the second degree. Queens Supreme Court Justice Kenneth Holder sentenced him to 28 years in prison. Thank you all.
Thank you. And for Nydia Velasquez is Jonathan Betancourt.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be very short, very brief. I know we have a lot on the agenda, but Jonathan Bancourt, I'm here on behalf of Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez, who sends her greetings from Washington, D.C. I just have one thing to mention. I have some flyers over here. We are having a home ownership and foreclosure prevention resource fair this Saturday at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the American Legion Hall on Cooper Avenue. That address is 68-01 Cooper Avenue. This is going to be a one-stop shop for homeowners. There's many homeowners here in attendance, so we hope everyone can come out. We have Department of Sanitation confirmed, HPD confirmed, we have DEP confirmed, so thank you to Alfonso. And a whole bunch of city agencies, state agencies, nonprofit organizations will be there. So please come one, come all. And we have flyers there in the back. If you need any assistance with a federal agency, feel free to call our office at 718-599-3658. Happy Father's Day, and let's have a good, safe summer. Thank you.
Thank you. And for Grace Meng is Tiana Armstrong.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tiana Armstrong. I will keep it nice and brief. The Congresswoman introduced a bill to adjust monthly Social Security payments for seniors, survivors, and those on disability insurance based on locality-based comparability payment rates. Currently, Social Security payments are made using individual average indexed monthly earnings. This distribution is uneven and does not account for high cost of living like in locations like New York. Lastly, we are having another passport event that is going to be at the post office in Forest Hills, located at 10628 Queens Boulevard, and this is going to be Sunday, June 22nd from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Thank you all. Happy Father's Day.
No one representing Bob Holden. And representing Joanne Ariola is Phyllis Inzerillo, my teammate.
Good evening, everyone. Today, the council member proudly ensured a home rule for the Detective Endowment Association that was passed in the City Council. We would like to thank the Community Affairs Officers Bonilla and Detective Barish for all their hard work and for addressing the incredible amount of derelict vehicles here in the CB5 area. Our office is praying for the safety of the NYPD as they face yet another batch of violent protests. We believe in free speech, but that cannot come at the cost of threats and assaults on our law enforcement officers. CM Ariola has introduced a local law to amend the Administrative Code of New York City today in relation to the after-action reports following emergency declarations. When our city and state issue a state of emergency, our city must be held accountable and be required to produce an after-action report detailing the emergency response and suggestions to better respond in future emergencies of the same nature. So, for instance, with Hurricane Sandy, COVID, we have never gotten any after-action report from the city to tell us how they did, why they did it, when they did it, and what we can do better next time. The City of Yes lawsuit has added a battery energy storage portion to the lawsuit. We just amended it. Our first court date has been set for July 8th in Staten Island, and the CM asks that anyone who is against the City of Yes to join us at the courthouse to show the judge that we do not want these changes to zoning in our communities. So the judge is actually putting us in a special courtroom because she believes that we will have a huge turnout that day. It is July 8th. It will be in Richmond County in Staten Island. We will let you know the exact location of where to meet us on our social media and what time to be there. But if you can come out and you don't agree with the City of Yes, we suggest that you come to show your support. In conjunction with that, the council member has introduced a risk factor legislation that would give each community a risk factor score based on flooding, power outages, and any other infrastructure issues within the community, so that should the City of Yes stay in place, we would be able to fight back developments that we think would not be good for certain areas where there are, for instance, constant water main breaks, issues with catch basins, constant power outages. A big problem with the City of Yes is that infrastructure was not considered to be fixed prior to them putting this into place. So we just want to make sure that our communities remain safe. Last month, Vinnie asked for the council member to have the Queens Public Library produce a mobile unit, and she took out her magic wand. And we will be bringing this month a mobile unit with the Queens Public Library to one of the schools in the Glendale area. So we'll keep you posted on a date for that. This Saturday, we will be hosting a Flag Day Festival at Victory Field. Everyone's invited, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. bounce houses, crafts, music, and activities. And as always, we are always available 24/7 at our phone number at 718-738-1083. If you have an emergency at night, you're having trouble getting the police to respond, you call that number, it comes to our phones, and we will get in contact with the precinct for you. Have a great night, everyone, and happy Flag Day. God bless
you.
America. Thank you.
For Councilmember Gutierrez is Kimberly Vega.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kim Vega from Councilmember Gutierrez's office. So I just want to start off by saying thank you to anyone that came out to any of our cleanups this past Saturday. We had a Myrtle Wyckoff cleanup and a Ridgewood Street tree care. So thank you for anyone that joined. HPD will be at our office on Monday, June 16th from 10 to 4 if anyone wants to speak to them. We're at 244 Union Ave. And we're still hosting our office clinics. So Community Citizenship Now is there every Monday. CORE for housing attorneys is there every third Wednesday of the month, and both require an appointment, so you can give us a call at 718-963-3141. CUF is also at our office for assistance on housing applications every Thursday. No appointment is necessary, but it is on a first-come, first-served basis. And as summer is coming up, if there are any spots and locations with excessive garbage, you can always give us a call, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. For Senator Dabo is John D'Angelo.
Run. Good evening. My name is John D'Angelo from State Senator Dabo's office. Legislative session ends in a couple of days, so the senator will be back in the district making the rounds, having mobile hours. I don't want to speak for him. Hopefully they'll get him here in July. And then I left the flyers on the table as usual. The only event coming up soon, a little bit out of the area, as long as you're a constituent, free senior bowling. It's at the 360 Bowl in Ozone Park. You only have to be 55, and they're not going to proof anybody, so don't worry. So, all right. That's what they told me. So. All right. Any questions? I'll be here. Have a good evening, all.
Thank you. No one here for Senator Gianaris. And representing Senator Salazar is Maria Valdez.
What was that? Valdez with the...
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Maria Valdez from the Office of Senator Julia Salazar. We continue to have tenants board services the first Tuesday of every month in our office from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. No appointments needed. We will have the Department of Buildings tomorrow at our office from noon to 4 p.m. Anyone interested is welcome to come into our office at 212 Evergreen Avenue. You can always call our office at 718-573-1726. Thank you.
Thank you. No one representing Assemblymember Hevesy. Representing Assemblymember Raga is Doma Lama.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Doma Lama. I'm the District Director at the Office of Assemblyman Stephen Raga. Assemblymember sends kind regards to every one of you. He's still up in Albany with a legislative session, potentially might be extended few days. Until the 18th, we're expecting that. There are a couple of events that I would like to notify you about. We have an upcoming legal clinic with Community Resist at our district office, June 25th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And we also we're bringing back our annual Independence Day reading, Declaration of Independence Day reading at Maspeth Memorial Park on July 2nd. And we encourage all the community members to stop by as stakeholders will be reading the Declaration of Independence. We'll have performers and a lot going on. That's July 2nd, mark the date, 5:30 to 7 p.m. And we're sending out invites to several stakeholder organizations in Maspeth as well. So most of you will be receiving our invites soon. Thank you and have a lovely evening.
Thank you. And for Assemblymember Valdez is Carlos Munoz.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carlos. I'm the Assembly Member's District Director. Just two events really quick. We have two mobile pop-up offices. One of them is at Ridgewood this Saturday, June 14th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then we have one in MassFest on June 24th, right next to the MTA Omnivan, from 1 to 3 p.m. Last month we did it, and it was very popular, so we're doing it again. Thank you.
Thank you. No one representing Catalina Cruz? Anyone from the 104? City Planning, Derek Jasmine? Derek was here, or Derek here? Anything? Did a good job the other night. Sorry we abused you. Who?
I don't know. She is here. Let us speak. Yeah, she's here. Anna Sargent.
Anna Sargent. I missed you. I'm sorry, Anna.
It's all right. It's all right. Oh my goodness. All righty. Hi everyone. I'm Anna from the Office of Assemblywoman Jennifer Rajkumar. Last time I was here, I talked about Penny's Law and how we had a rally at City Hall. We just this week had a rally up in Albany. We're gathering a lot of co-sponsors. We're getting still a lot of calls from across the state about people and their dogs. And you know, we've learned a lot as an office about how to help support people who are, you know, dealing with the consequences of a dog attack. So if you know anyone, tell them, you know, they can call our office. We're very well equipped to help them with their situation. We also did pass a piece of legislation this week for the traffic cops to help make sure that they get their pensions just like any other officer. And then we do have a NILAG event coming up in July, and I look forward to our next meeting. Happy Pride, happy Father's Day, and I think our meeting is going to be after the 4th of July, so I'd also like to say a happy 4th of July.
Yeah, the meeting is the July 9th.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Okay, minutes. Committee board members, you got your minutes. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes? Tell us who you are. Say who you are and what you're saying. Where you from?
Peggy O'Kane from Ridgewood. Kathy O'Leary was too modest in transcribing my forum remarks because she didn't put in the praise that she deserved because she was instrumental in getting the flag at the Woodbine Post Office.
Hold on.
I'm talking the minutes when she transcribed my remarks at the public forum. She didn't include my praise for her because she was instrumental in getting in the Woodbine Street Post Office flag.
So you're recommending approval of the minutes as corrected?
Certainly.
Do we have a second? Second. Walter, Clayton, all in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Next item is review of current applications for alcohol sales and demolition. John Meyer. Bill, go ahead, John.
We do not have any demolition notices or construction notices this month, and we have a rather short liquor license list as well. We have no new liquor licenses, full liquor licenses. Nobody applied this month. We have 2 liquor license renewals. Panina Inc., doing business as Panina at 6838 Forest Avenue, Storefront A in Ridgewood. That's a restaurant. Myrtle Dorado Restaurant Corp., doing business as El Dorado Restaurant at 5455 Myrtle Avenue, Ridgewood. That is a restaurant as well. We do have 2 new wine, beer, and cider licenses applications. Salvo's Cucina Casalinga at LLC at 6601 Forest Avenue, Ridgewood, New York. That is a food and beverage business. We also had Koi Asian Cuisine Inc. at 70-18 Grand Avenue, Maspeth, New York, and that's a restaurant. We have 2 wine, beer, and cider renewals. Inner Visions NYC LLC, doing business as Honeymoon Coffee Shop at 517 Onderdonk Avenue, Ridgewood, New York. That's a food and beverage business. A&J Junior's Pizza Corp., doing business as Maspeth Pizza at 7109 Grand Avenue in Maspeth. That is a restaurant. We also got 2 other notifications for corporate changes. Gotchier Central Holding Company, Inc., doing business as Gotchier Hall at 655 and 657 Fairview Avenue in Ridgewood, is changing their corporate structure. They are a full license liquor, wine, beer, and cider, and a food and beverage business. Also going under that same kind of change is Coche Payoso LLC, doing business as Bar Freda at 801 Seneca Avenue, Ridgewood, New York, which is also a full liquor, wine, beer, and cider license, and they are a food and beverage business. If you have any questions or any comments about any of these locations, please let us know in the office. It helps us respond to the SLA in a timely manner.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, other than congratulating staff on the fantastic job they do, and they're well respected, talk to anyone from Borough Hall, and you'll find out how great the staff you have is and what they do. Does anyone have anything for me, the chair? Nothing? Okay, then the next item of business is our excellent district manager.
Thank you, Mr. Vinnie. Yeah, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And many of us could hope that we could all be better fathers, and that there are many fathers who need to improve their situation. Some land use items. Oh, before I go into that, Memorial Day Parade. We did have a contingent, well, a small group that walked. We don't really march in the Memorial Day Parade. And we had Betsy Chen, Brandon Swaggerman, Carol Benovic Bradley, Ted and myself, Ted's son David, and Emily Coyne. So I thank you all for participating. Show your respect for the veterans and for those who unfortunately lost their lives in the line of duty. Some land use issues of importance. And the Land Use Committee is scheduled to meet on the 23rd, right, of June, Monday night. So a few important things are coming up. So the Department of City Planning at that meeting is going to do a presentation with regard to their study of industrial areas throughout the city of New York. We have 2 main industrial areas in our neck of the woods, one of them being in West Maspeth, and the other one being in the Ridgewood area south of Myrtle Avenue. So they'll be there. I don't know if we're, so Derek, you're good for all that, right? Okay, thank you. The other item is Department of Environmental Protection wants to address the committee with regard to the need to address combined sewer overflows, which Eric was talking about, in Newtown Creek. And in many of the sewage treatment plants, what they do is they'll put retention tanks nearby the sewage treatment plant. And the sewage treatment plant is always near a waterway. But what happens is when the rain is real problematic in a short period of time, the sewage treatment plant can't take all the flow from the rainwater as well as the sewage coming from our homes and businesses, so it all doesn't get treated. So what they want to do in Newtown Creek is not have several holding tanks. They want to actually have a tunnel. So that's what they want to present to the Zoning and Land Use Committee. I know that Kathy sent that to you and John sent you info, right, Walter? Walter Sanchez being the chairperson of the Zoning and Land Use Review Committee. And then, but I don't have a confirmation from DEP. Hopefully we can deal with those items. I said pencil us in for the 23rd. But a big concern, and Walter, I don't know if you know anything about this yet, but a big concern to me is that I am advised that proposals planned for charter revision to be voted on this year include taking the community boards either entirely or significantly out of the land use review process. So I'm quite not surprised by that, but quite discouraged by that. And I guess after I read it, I'll be more than discouraged. I've said this before, I'll say it again. My opinion, community boards may be the most important structural change in the city of New York in the past 50 years. Because it gives people in the neighborhood an opportunity to have a say with regard to their community. Not only to have a say, but to study issues. So up until now, every request for a zoning change or a variance came to the community board first. So not only did the community board have a say, the community board had first say with regard to the matter and could have a lot of influence with regard to the consideration of the matter and the points that were considered to be important points with regard to whatever the issue at hand was. Whether this is being done to spite the community boards because of many community boards not being in favor of portions of the city of Yes, I don't know. But this seems to have arisen right after that. So, and one of the reasons I believe the community boards are so important is because we have the right to look at every single set of plans that any city agency has to do work in our neck of the woods, whether that's environmental or park, which are most of it, or Department of Transportation project. We have a right to those plans. We have a right to review those plans. We have a right to comment on those plans. And the newspapers locally have always, I think, respected the community boards. I know they've respected Community Board 5. And I don't like to do battles, but we haven't lost many battles in the years I've been here. The only one I can think of offhand is they got one story, but that was on the other end. But they got one story more than we wanted them to have on 74th Street. It was a fire extinguisher company across from what used to be Berger Industries and is now the, right? That's our one loss that I know of. But so many projects we've gotten funded, and whether they be sewer projects or parks or roadway projects and all that sort of thing. So, and we're a non-political body. So nobody has to contribute to the community board to get you reelected or me reappointed or anything like that, which I think is a big important thing. And I think that that's a big reason that this city has done a lot better than other cities. So that said, I'm talking to you about 3 major land use items, 2 of which will be discussed hopefully at the upcoming Land Use Committee meeting, and the other one that could take the community boards out of the charter revision, out of the land use process. Any questions? Daniel Heredia.
Introduce yourself.
Thank
Where
you.
you're from, what your question is, stand up.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Gary, for the report. Daniel Heredia, Ridgewood. Do you know which of the Charter Revision Commissions that, because there are currently two, one that is competing, one that the City Council Speaker was trying to do, and one is the Mayor. Do you know which one did that proposal come out of? I'm just curious.
This is what I could tell you. A couple of community boards have gotten outreach from the City Council's planning office. That's what I know right now. I have an 84-page document that I got sent to me today. And Claire, if you'd like to say something, but get a microphone, please. And for all of you, are representatives still here from elected officials? So it was very good for those of you that sent your reports to us in a Word format that we could, download and copy and paste. Please do that again. It makes our lives, I think you see the minutes are 12 to 15 pages as usual. So thank you.
There's going to be public hearings regarding the issue that Gary just raised. I don't have that information on the top of my head, but I'll send it to the board office so he can share it with you guys. I'm pretty sure they're going to be held at City Hall. I spoke to Councilmember Lynn Shulman about this yesterday, and she was trying to get as many board members as possible to testify at these hearings. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Daniel, so that I can send you the link that was sent to me. All right? And it's in there. I haven't had an opportunity to review it because I only got it yesterday or the day before. So, Bob Chimelli, and get a microphone, please. And the reason we ask you to speak through the microphone is so that we can hear what people are saying on the tape, and that's why the minutes are as good as they are.
Thank you, Gary. Bob Cimelli from Middle Village. We are an advisory board. We are no threat to legislation other than public opinion. We've been around a long time in our communities, and we know our communities, and that's why we're an advisory board, because we live in the communities we're talking about. I would like to personally see the advocates of this legislation come here and give their opinion why they want to make the change and answer questions from us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, I thank you, and we will meet in July, the second Wednesday here, but August we'll only meet if it's absolutely necessary. And absolutely necessary usually means that some developer is trying to sneak a zoning item through in the summertime. That's usually the only reason that we would have to meet. There was a time when we met 12 months a year, because to me, and hopefully to others, it's not like the community doesn't have activities that we have to pay attention to or concerns during the summertime. So we're taking it easy for August, hopefully. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next item of business is committee reports. First committee I have is Public Safety. Step up to the microphone, tell them who you are, and don't read the whole thing.
Marion Latanzio, Chair of Public Safety. The Public Safety met on May 21st in the Community Board office. In your folder, we have a spreadsheet of all the crimes and the stats from each sector and the tickets that were summoned. This way it saves us time tonight, Vinny. Okay, after the crime stats, we were discussing staffing at the 104. According to Detective Barish and Officer Bonilla, we only have 103 police officers working in the 104th, along with 20 lieutenants and sergeants, totaling 124. This is a very concerning and short number, since according to past public safety reports, the numbers were a lot higher. In 2021, we had 193 officers. In March of 2024, we had 154 officers. Detective Barrett stated that many officers and supervisors that are eligible for retirement in July of 2025. I went to Councilman Holden's office to express my concern about the lack of police officers in the 104th precinct. He assured me that he was going to talk to Commissioner Tisch about getting us more officers. It was supposed to happen in the last class, but we didn't get none from the last class. We're next going to talk about some serious crimes that happened in the 104th precinct. On April 22nd, at approximately 5:40 p.m., a 19-year-old male, Kevin Hernandez, was murdered on George Street in Ridgewood, on the same street at IS 77. A young man on a moped did the shooting. According to Detective Barish, 5 individuals who may have gang ties might have been involved. At the time of this meeting, no one has been arrested. On May 30th, 2025, DA Melinda Cass announced a 16-year-old from Flushing Avenue in Brooklyn was indicted for the murder. The same defendant was also indicted for robbery, assault, grand larceny, petty larceny on a 17-year-old on Myrtle Avenue subway station the day before on April 21st. Walter, if you remember with GCOP, that was the guy we were looking for. Okay. There was a bomb scare at PS 119 on 78th Avenue in Glendale on May 5th, and a threat to a staff member at May 6th in the same school. The bomb threat happens early in the school day. Parents were notified, bomb squad came, and all was clear. According to Patrick Tricasi, the following day in the morning, a threat was made. The school did not notify anyone in the community or parents, apparently because of school policy. There were shots fired on Duran Avenue on April 14, 2025 at 5:30 a.m. According to Detective Barish, this is a known narcotics location, and reports indicated that shots were fired. There was a report of shots fired on 80th Street and Cooper Avenue on April 9th, but Detective Barish stated to his knowledge no report of this happened. Okay. We discussed the 2 teens trying to push themselves into a home on 74th Street in Middle Village on April 24, 2025. Detective Barry stated that this did happen, but was not reported to the police. The next serious instance we found out after our public safety meeting. I spoke to Detective Barish and Officer Bonilla. It was on the news and a statement made by DA Melinda Cass's office on May 22nd that on May 10, 2025, a 31-year-old male attacked a 9-year-old girl on 67th Place and Central Avenue between 4:10 and 4:30 in the afternoon. An off-duty sergeant and bystanders helped detain the male until police arrived. The sergeant was bit on his knee and his hand, losing the tip of his finger that could not be reattached. According to police officer Bonilla, this was a domestic-related incident. We discussed plans of patrols in the summer months coming. Officer Bonilla stated that 104th Precinct and the 75th Precinct have already been patrolling Highland Park with connections on PAT, the Park Enforcement Police. We discussed problems at Evergreen Park. District Manager Gary Giordano was informed that approximately 300 people were playing volleyball and spectators at the park were pushing parents and children out of the park. He also stated that alcohol and food was illegally being sold. Detective Barish stated that the precinct is aware of the problem, and he expects that the precinct supervisors are planning a special operation in conjunction with the park's police to combat this problem. The rest of the ticketing, which you all have on your sheets, and the NCO. The NCO's positions are filled, but responding to 911 calls, so since we're so short on police officers, there are times that if we make 2 arrests in one night, we're only going to have 1 police car for the whole 104th precinct. And this is a serious problem which needs to be addressed.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Next committee is Housing Services. Tell them who you are.
Charles Ober, Ridgewood. First serving as chair of the Housing Committee.
Brief.
Okay. So we met on Monday, May 19th. We had met on April 3rd. I attended that meeting, so I had a preview of what we might be able to accomplish. So first I want to address my role as chair because I think it's relevant. So in the April 3rd meeting, we had very spirited discussions about the housing issues that impact our district. And I was disappointed in that there was no outcome from that meeting and not a way to measure things that we could do to change some, what is the role of the housing committee to make change on the housing in our district? So it was a frustration. So unfortunately, they decided I'm the one who's going to take over and change that. So I own that. So I have to find a way where we're going to have outcomes from our committee. One of the things that I've found when I've been successful is working in collaborations. You don't get things done by yourself. And I have to say the people that come to the committee are very committed to the issue. And I think when we work together, we will be able to get some things done. So I want to talk specifically about some of the things we did. I will mention that Antonio Reynoso had a housing task force, which I also attended, as did Angela Mirabile, the tenants, Ridgewood Tenants Association, and others. And they had city representatives at those meetings, and we discussed particular problem buildings. So there's a little bit of a model there. Actually, out of that committee came legislation about harassment of tenants, which got passed through the city council. So those are some of the things that we might be able to do out of our housing committee. Gary Giordano pointed out that there are in his mind, two types of committees. One that have much of their agenda brought to them from city committees, and those committees that have to set their own agenda. Ours is the latter. So I did ask Gary to look into what other community boards are saying, and from what I understand, I think there were 2 community boards that responded to him, and they said the housing committee sits with the zoning committee. So they don't meet separately. We're inventing the wheel here. So I'm not afraid of that. And so we expect to get some things done. We had a round table, and we understand that we're going to explore, specifically focus on housing issues in the district, problems with affordable housing, rent-stabilized housing, complaints about particular buildings, vacant properties, buildings that are doing illegal conversions, buildings that are not being taken care of. So we're going to have to find a system to get that information, and then we are actually going to invite representatives of city agencies and try and get things done when those issues come up. We have a list of action items for our next meeting, which will be on July 21st. We're going to work on getting out information for owners and tenants about rights and responsibilities. So I volunteered to come up with a chart of that, and we're going to come up with something to send out to tenants so they know what their rights are. Greater Ridgewood Restoration has been good in doing that, and so they're going to help inform us on how to get that done. We're going to focus on housing development opportunities and look into underutilized and vacant properties. Not sure how we're going to do that, but we're planning on doing that. Research owners who have let their rent-stabilized registrations expire and possibly, sort of force them to re-register. The reason for that is tenants cannot get information about the history of that building when they don't submit the reports. Looking into problems with LLCs, absentee owners, investment groups buying up currently owner-occupied properties. I have a postscript on that. There is legislation that was passed. Look into properties with complaints, vacant and uncared for properties violations. I mentioned that before. Looking into possible legislation to solve problems. Vis-a-vis the anti-tenant harassment legislation that came out of Ridgewood. Get data on rent-stabilized properties in CB5 to inform our work. Postscript, the state legislature passed some new laws on investment groups buying small properties. I'm going to get a full readout of that, but what I read was a summary. They are not going to allow any investment group to bid on any property that comes up for sale for 90 days. They are not allowed to. Also, they are not going to allow them to depreciate their properties and deduct renovations and other deductions at the state tax level. If they can only do that for up to 10 properties. So if they buy more than 10 properties, they're going to lose their deductions. So they can't come in and renovate a building and then raise the rent. They're not going to be able to deduct the costs to do that. So I'm going to look more into that, and hopefully we can also put that in one of our reports, because I think this committee should know about that. And we're going to think about how that will, maybe we need to actually help the enforcement of that. So I think there's good hope. There's hope because I really believe that the people that come to our committee are really, really committed, and they want to get some things done. So I think we're going to do some good things. Thank you.
I'm sorry? I didn't hear. I don't care. Okay, next committee is Transportation Services. Too late.
Good evening, everybody. Very brief meeting. I'm going to give a portion on the transportation side, then Brandon's going to give a portion on the public transit side. So the committee met on May 27th at the board office. It's resurfacing season, so I know many of you have been sending in requests to Gary in the board office and to John and to Kathy, and they've been compiling them. And proud to announce that we're getting 17 plus road miles of resurfacing. That's a lot of miles. And we've been, as a board, very good at getting this resurfacing, and credit to Gary for a lot of his advocacy on that. But this is important. Having these resurfaced streets helps with drainage of water. It helps with safety, helps with a lot of things, helps with quality of life too. Sometimes, driving down a nice smooth street or walking on a sidewalk and seeing a street that's well kept just improves the atmosphere of the neighborhood. And we've been great with getting these. If anyone wants to see the list of what's being resurfaced.
That's a list of what's
been requested. I see. And that's a good clarification for Gary. So we don't have the final list yet, but we're going to be getting a lot. We usually get a lot, and hopefully we continue to get a lot. But that's season is upon us, and you'll see it. We have been really advocating for the process to be truncated regarding milling and resurfacing. As you've seen, it's gotten better. It's gotten better over the years, but in the past there was a milling, you waited a while, you had a really rough road where you felt like you were going to the country or something. And then finally it got resurfaced, but the DOT has been much better, and we're hoping to keep on them to keep improving that, truncating that time. That being said, I just want to announce next meeting is Tuesday, June 17th, so it's a week earlier than usual, at the board office at 7:30 p.m. The reason why we're doing it June 17th is because the next Tuesday, the 24th, is Election Day, and that's important. Everyone vote. Voting is important, and we don't like to compete with voting. That's not right. That being said, if you have requests, you see things amiss in the neighborhood transportation-wise, call the board office, report it, and we could address it as a committee. Brandon.
All right. Thank you, Eric. So be real brief. Just one item we did discuss back at our joint meeting on May 27th related to public transit services is the MTA had informed the board office that the planned repainting of the M-train elevated structure that was supposed to be underway has been paused due to some unspecified issues with the construction contractors. So that's disappointing, but that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. So 20 blocks is 10 lane miles. So the paving is going to be quite a bit. And we thank you, Gary, for your hard work on that. Any other committees I failed to recognize?
Stephen Field, Parks Chair. Hi, everybody. Real quick, a lot of the parks that were having the retention tanks are finally finished. Central Avenue is done, the basketball is done. Fontara's basketball court is done, it's painted. Farah Park, the artificial turf is done. Still has no lines though, Gary, okay? I don't know what they're doing up there. Just one big rug. Rosemary's Playground is done, but all of these places are not open yet. They're still fenced in, but they're done. And I drove past 68 Park. What is that one called now? 68 Park? Evergreen? Must have been 100 people, 200 people in there playing volleyball. Of course, you can't play at 93 tonight. Yeah. Thank you.
So,
Any
just a
questions?
point, Central Avenue
Central Avenue softball field is finished.
the hoops are not in, and the lines are not painted, and they didn't finish the handicap access or raising up the height of fences.
Right, but that's open. Don't ask me why.
It's open, but it's not finished.
Right, okay. Rosemary's Playground still closed. Everything
you.
else is done and open.
Thank you.
What?
Any other committees? If not, today is elections. I'm going to turn it over to Mr.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I have one more. And the new baseball
Well,
field.
you walked away.
Yeah, I know, it was my bad. And the new baseball field at Juniper Valley, from when they screwed up and made the 90 a 60, the new 90 is finished. It's not open yet, but it's finished. It's beautiful.
Thank you. So we're at, if there are no other committees, we have nominations for election. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Giordano, and we're at 9.
Okay. So annually, we have elections for members of the executive committee, and there's chairperson, first vice chair, second vice chair, treasurer, I think, which technically used to be called financial secretary. And Eric told me that it was changed in the bylaws. So I'm finally terming it correctly, right? Yeah. Secretary, Peggy O'Kane's been our secretary, corporate. Not that she's, taken the minutes or anything like that, but she's done a wonderful job with the spearheading the last 2 revisions of the bylaws. Am I correct? The last one too, which went back to the 90s. 97 was the first. Right. Okay, 2024.
Can everybody hear what you're saying, please?
Okay.
The 1997 went very swimmingly, but the last year's, because Borough Hall was intimately involved in rewriting every period and comma, went a lot more difficult, but it got done.
All right. Thank you. And then, so you have chair, first vice chair, second vice chair, treasurer. Hold on, please. Treasurer, secretary, 4 members at large, and what we have added is a parliamentarian. Kathy Massey?
Yeah, I just have a suggestion, Gary. Because we have a lot of new members and even some old members like myself that haven't been active on the executive board, if you could just give us a brief how often it meets. Is it monthly, quarterly, bi-monthly, on demand? Is it always in person, Zoom? Just so everyone understands.
Okay. Well, it is almost always in person. For this board, once the governor stopped the moratorium on allowing public meetings to be conducted under the Sunshine Law remotely, we pretty much went back to having in-person meetings. We do not have too many. We've had, and I'm not saying we couldn't have them, but as far as whether the meetings, most of our meetings, the great majority of committee meetings are in person. The executive committee, let me please speak. The executive committee, they meet as needed, but I could tell you that some big priorities are to meet, and I would hope fairly soon, to appoint new board members to committees, right? That's one of the important priorities. And then from there, we get into budget season. So we will have our annual capital and expense budget hearing in September, our September board meeting. And that's the beginning of us formulating our capital and expense budget priorities. Capital being construction items, you know, the park, the sewer for the most part, could be the bridge, the Grand Street Bridge, that sort of thing. And expense budget items, asking for more police or services for the fire department, the sanitation department, and basically staff-related budget requests for city agencies. So we'll have that public hearing. After that public hearing, the executive committee will meet in order to formulate the capital budget survey. So all the new board members and all the board members, we are very democratic or open in this regard. You will all get a capital budget survey to complete. It will have 30 items on it. Those of you who have been a board member for 1 or more years got this already. And you'll get a description of the items. And then they'll meet again with regard to reviewing the results of that budget survey and report back to the full board, and then vote with regard to what our budget priorities are for the year. Peggy?
According to the bylaws, all committees should meet at least 4 times a year.
The executive committee practically meets every month.
Right, but it doesn't specify that the executive committee has a special requirement. It just says all committees shall meet at least 4 times a year.
Okay. So after that, it becomes a it becomes an issue of they'll meet pretty much as needed after the budget meeting, and appointing new board members to committees and reviewing committee membership and making decisions on committee chairpersons. So that said, if we could start the process. Our current chairperson is Vincent Arcuri. Mr. Arcuri, there you are. And he was the only person nominated at the last board meeting in May. He accepted the nomination. Are there any other nominations for the position of chairperson for Community Board 5 Queens? Going once, going twice. Steve Fiedler?
Nominate Walter Sanchez.
All right, so Steve Fiedler is nominating Walter Sanchez. Do you accept?
Steve, thanks. So 2 years ago, I was encouraged to run for chair. A few months before that, Vin was under the weather, and I ran the meetings for 8 or 9 months through May. And when June came along, Vin came back, and he's been chairman 25 years. I mean, unbelievable job, 25 years. So there's all respect right here, total respect, what he's done. Nobody's done that. Nobody can do that. So I ran. He was nominated. I ran. He got 21 votes. I got 19 votes. Now, the votes are public, so they're in the community board office. I looked to see, how the votes went. And I spoke to some people who voted for Vin, respected that, and many of them were people that have been here for a long time. When I asked them what's up, it was like, well, listen, we don't want Vinny to go out that way. we respect him, and we think it should keep going until he decides, not to go anymore. I totally respect that, and that's cool. Right now, we have to change. There's term limits, and new people are going to be coming onto the board, are coming onto the board. And you know what? It starts with getting the committees they want. They should get the committees they want. There's pretty big turnover on this community board, and much of it is because they're not getting the committees they want. That's a big part of this, and I think we can start that. The second thing is, you see there's very, very little public at these meetings. Social media, other things that we do will encourage the public to come to these meetings, because you're right, it's so important. And when they look to kill community boards or kill land use, it's because the public really doesn't care as much. I've been chairing the Land Use Committee for 20 years, first vice chair for about 10. So the last thing is, I really think many of you know I've run these meetings. I ran them, again, 8-9 months in a row while Vinny was under the weather. And we ended at 9 o'clock, 9:10. And what's most important is we got cognitive discussion done by 8:30. We didn't have to wait till 9 o'clock, 9:15, when we're all tired and we want to go home. So with all due respect to Vinny and the job that he's done, I'm going to accept the nomination. Thank you.
He accept the nomination? Okay. So are there any other nominations for the position of chairperson? Going once, going twice? All right, so we'll have that election before we do anything else. You will all get a ballot to fill out. Put the date on it, because we need to have ballots for every position at every annual meeting, and we don't want to throw them out if we don't have to, in case some positions are not contested.
Can I add something right now?
Make sure you count what you give out.
As the folks that did the bylaws will attest, all the elections are ranked choice voting. But in this case, do we need to rank the two different people, or do we just vote for one? Okay, because the ballots are set up as a ranked choice, but. He's got a question, Daniel Heridian.
Yeah, Daniel Heredia, Ridgewood. I'm so sorry for this last minute question. There was a point made about votes being made publicly accessible. Would the office be able to share how that's done? And if that's
I didn't hear the question. Did anyone hear the question? Daniel, I don't think we heard the question. I'm sorry.
Sure, okay. I'll repeat it. Daniel Heredia, Ridgewood. I heard during Walter Sanchez's speech about the votes being made publicly accessible. I'm curious if the office could share if that's kosher and how that process is done, being who is voting for whom and whether that's being public and how.
I don't know what the question was.
I will get there. Okay. Typically speaking, we have never published this. You could come into the office and see what the results are. That's normally the way we've done this. So
they're available for the public by appointment. Okay? Because staff has a lot of things to do, and we're down to only 2 or 3 people, and they're very busy. So by appointment, if someone wants to see them, call up, make an appointment, and he'll make arrangements for you to see them. Thank you. Okay. Count what you give out and count what you get back, please.
preference. Tabulating proceeds in rounds in which the candidate who receives the fewest first choice votes in the first round is eliminated, and that candidate's votes are reallocated to the voter's next choice candidate. Rounds continue until one candidate has received a majority of votes. Since there's only 2 people, the procedure should be relatively painless.
Did you get one?
Please state it, print your name, date the ballot, and sign the ballot, and fold it in half.
So, did you have counters, or are you going to do it yourselves? Huh?
I think they're secret ballots.
Yeah, right.
They do. I mean, whether that makes a difference or not, I don't know.
Sorry that's going to take so long, but that's a stupid ranked choice. There's no, you don't have a yes or no or 1 or 2. Everybody, John, you need help counting, John? Okay, thank you. Unbelievable. That and what was the other one? Of course, all I do is watch movies now. I don't watch anything else. News and movies. The Longest Day and what was this? I'm trying to think of it. No. I'm trying to think of the other movie that was. Yeah.
Did you really?
And then the History Channel, they did the Korean War. Incheon landing, and then the frozen Chosin Reservoir and all that. And the Marines and the Turks. The Marines and the Turks would just fought their way back, brought their dead with them. They followed the mountain range on the coast there. The snow and the overcast, so they would pull in on the azimuth ship fire over their own heads. Sometimes they fell short, but that's what protected them. The Marines and the Turks marched behind the roughest place up in the mountains in the snow So they had artillery from the ships protect them. The army came down and no air protection, so the Chinese just ate them up. That's why the army lost so many people there. It's amazing. I'm trying to think of the other one. Damn it. During the invasion, there were 100,000 killed, wounded, or maimed. Most of them were Americans because Omaha Beach was the most controlled spot. Bunkers and everything. French had it fairly easy. So the 101st and 102nd Avenue were dropped. They were dropped in Marylease to try and deter the Germans from approaching the coastline. The German general, still is the largest armada of ships the tanks were coming over. So they had to take it, and that was 101st and 102nd Avenue. Took that bridge to prevent the German tanks from getting forward. But they were delayed anyway. So. At the closest point, so they had all massed there, ready. So the Germans were watching that. And then we came across the worst place because the tide was, I forget, 14-foot change in tide. 14-foot change in tide. And it was gloomy, rainy, and there was one clear day, and this guy, weatherman, told Eisenhower that the 6th would be the best day to go across. So he said, we're going. But the tides were against us. So they were coming in, the tides were down, and they had to walk through the water and the barricade and everything. And it was like a quarter of a mile to get into the land. 8 them up. Yep. But, hey, God, it said God was with us. That's it. VE Day, after they recaptured Europe, they calculated that they would need 1 million men Got to do it. They're not going to lose a million men. Almost the entire Tokyo was almost burned out completely before they dropped the atomic bomb.
So if I could have your attention, it took me going through this like twice because of this ranked choice voting. So a few people, had them both on the paper, and then you had to look at, with a couple of crossouts, so you had to look at who was their number one choice and who was their number two choice. But from our reading of this, Walter wins the election 20-19. So that said, I would like to thank Mr. Arcuri for all these years of being chairman of Community Board 5, because it's easy. It's one thing to be a member. It's another thing to play a leadership role. And I think Walter even said it, and maybe Vinny's a little more gruff than he used to be, but Walter said to me not long ago, and I'm going to quote you, Walter. I'm going to quote you. Nobody runs a meeting better than Vinny Arcuri. So that's what Walter said to me. Vinny has been somebody who's been in regular communication with us at the office. Whenever he was amazing, and I won't be rushed here, sorry. He was amazing when he worked. He had a very, very important construction supervision job. I once said to his wife, Lois, God bless Lois, I said, when is best time for me to get in touch with Vinny? She says, Gary, you call him at 6:30 in the morning. That's when he comes home from walking the dog and he's going to sit down and eat breakfast. I said, Lois, you want me to call your house at 6:30 in the morning? She says, Gary, you're going to get him at 6:30 in the morning. And when I said to Lois, Lois, I'm sorry if the community board takes too much of your time, Lois said, the community board's very important, Gary. It's the job that takes too much of his time. So Vinny used to supervise like 5 to 7 construction jobs at a time sometimes, right? Yeah. So God bless Vinny. He's done this for a long, 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 long time as a volunteer. And Vinny lost an election in 1995 to Paul Kersner, who's not here today. Paul resigned after 6 months on the job. Frank Principe, it's a true story, Frank Principe became the chairperson of the board, kind of like a compromise, you know. Vinny had been chairperson from 85 to 95, and Vinny lost the election to Paul in a fairly close election in 1995. What did Vinny do? Not sour grapes. He became chairman of the Transportation Committee, the toughest committee on the board. And Eric, I thank you for doing that. Frank Principe did a real good job as chairman. If you think you're too old, Frank Principe became the chairperson of Community Board 5 at age 86. And he was sharp. At age 86, he was as sharp as anybody in this room, I'll tell you that. I guarantee that. So Frank got sick. right? And he got prostate cancer. What did Frank do when Frank knew he couldn't do it anymore? All right? And we had some infighting at times and that sort of thing. He called Vinnie Arcuri and basically ordered him to come back as chairman of the board. And that's the truth. He didn't go behind the doors and talk to anybody else. He basically ordered Vinnie to come back as chairman of the board. So Vinnie, I thank you. I'm going to miss you as chairman. Walter, it's going to be up to you to sign my timesheet. So we'll see how all that goes. So Walter, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. Congratulations, Walter. Walter asked me to finish up with the tonight's meeting. So we have more what's the next one? Gary's going to continue.
So you couldn't get any tighter than that. So now we're going to need a new zoning and land use committee chairperson in all likelihood. So that brings up a whole nother challenge. Okay, so for first vice chair, Walter Sanchez is the first vice chair. Well, he still is until just now. Do we have a nomination for first vice chair? Yes. Jess Boyardi?
Jess Boyardi, I nominate Kathy Massey.
Okay. Kathy, do you accept? You accept? There any other nominations for first vice chair? Going once? Going twice? Okay. So Kathy, Peggy?
Nominations, there are no further nominations. I declare them closed and cast one vote to elect Kathy Massey as first vice chair.
Okay.
Let me turn it down over here.
All right. For second vice chair is Dmytro Fedkowski. He was nominated. He accepted. Are there any other nominations for second vice chair? Any other nominations? Going once, going twice?
There being no further nominations, the secretary declares nominations closed and casts one vote to elect Dmytro Fedkowski, first vice chair of Community Board 5.
Second
vice chair, sorry.
Okay, thank you. All right. So now we have treasurer, Eric Butkowitz, who is the treasurer of the Community Board, was nominated and accepted. Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Going once, going twice? Peggy?
There being no further nominations, secretary declares them closed and casts one vote to elect Eric Butkowitz, treasurer of Community Board 5.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So for secretary, Peggy O'Kane, who's been the secretary of Community Board 5 for more than 20 years.
At least 97.
Well, I said more than 20 years. So that's 28. Thank you. But Peggy declined the nomination, and Peggy nominated Jasmine Valley. And Jasmine, do you accept?
I do. Can I just say a few words?
Sure.
I want to accept the nomination, and I want to thank Peggy for that nomination. I also want to thank her for her service. As many of you heard, she's served on this as a secretary for over 25 years. So I recognize I have big shoes to fill. And so I want to thank her for that service. And I also just want to thank her for her generosity, her patience, her kindness. One of the first committees that I was charged with sitting on was the Bylaws Committee, and she is a wealth of knowledge, and she took time to speak with me, be patient, and to share that wisdom with me. So for that, I owe a debt of gratitude to her because I'm very passionate about my community. I was born and raised in Queens, and so I thank her for the nomination, and hopefully I make everybody proud as secretary.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for secretary? Going once, going twice? All right.
There being no further nominations, Secretary declares them closed and casts one vote to elect Jasmine Valle as Secretary of Community Board 5. Congratulations. It's been interesting. I hope she finds it interesting, too.
Okay, for members at large, there were 4 positions, and Fred Howler was nominated. Walter Clayton was nominated. Carol. Yeah, Carol was nominated, and Benovic Bradley. And Rachel Karachi was nominated. Are there any, and they all accepted. Are there any other nominations for at-large? Carol? I couldn't hear you.
Betsy Chen.
Oh, okay. Betsy, do you accept? Yes? Okay. Any other nominations?
I nominate Carol Bradley.
She's already nominated. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. I nominate Diego Leclerc.
We can't hear you, so stand up. Say who
Yeah, give her the mic, please.
microphone.
I nominate Diego Leclerc.
Diego, do you accept? Okay. Okay, any other nominations for at-large? Dimitro?
Nominate Patrick.
Patrick, do you accept? You do? Okay. Any other nominations? Eric?
I nominate Vincent Arcuri. Your wisdom is very valuable, and it would be very important to still have you on the executive committee.
I decline.
I decline.
Any other nominations? All right, so I'll tell you, this is where that ranked choice business, I wish it wasn't in the bylaws.
No.
Oh, it doesn't have to take place? Good, that's right. All right.
Except for executive.
Good, good, good.
Each election for officers, except for executive members at large,
God.
shall be
Yeah.
decided
No,
by
you're
choice
right.
voting. So you just vote whom you wish to elect.
Okay. All right. So I don't know, well, you all should have an agenda in front of you. I don't know if you all have a pen, but the nominees are Fred Haller, who's currently a member of the Executive Committee, Walter Clayton, who's currently a member of the Executive Committee, Carol Benovic Bradley has been nominated.
Can you repeat them from the beginning?
All right. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Fred Haller, Walter Clayton, Carol Benovic Bradley, Rachel Karachi, Betsy Chen, Diego Lecleary, and Patrick Trinchesi.
Everybody fill out your ballots, please. Yeah, John. Okay, everybody turn their ballot in. John, we have on it. John, over there. You turn yours in? Why not? He came to you twice.
Yep, I did.
John, over here. John. One more here, John.
Okay.
Okay, everybody turn their ballot in? All right, so we'll give them time to count. So, anybody know what June 14th is? Flag Day, and what does that mean? I'd love to see everyone have their flag flying and wear a flag pin or button or something, and don't just fly your flag on the 14th, fly it all the time, please. And this Sunday, I believe, is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to everyone. And July 4th is Independence Day. let's have a good celebration for July 4th, Independence Day. Now, what's happening, isn't it? No, the 250th anniversary of the Army is President's birthday and Sunday, isn't it? This Sunday? Flag Day, the 14th, I think, is also. Look up the 250th anniversary. Okay. So I'm trying to find out. The Army's birthday is, I believe the U.S. Army is, let's do that, U.S. Army birthday. Okay, so June 14th, besides being Flag Day, it's the 250th anniversary of the Army, the United States Army. It's also President Trump's birthday. So let's celebrate that, everything on that. And as I said, Independence Day is the 4th. Gary already mentioned the next meeting of this board is July 9th. And what else we have? So there's going to be a big parade in Washington on the 14th. Anyone want to say anything before we continue with the old business and new business? It's got to turn green.
Okay, I still have forms for the Relay for Life if anybody's interested. We took them off the table, but I still have them. Thank you.
Yeah, but now I have another responsibility. But you know, I think as you get older, it's good to keep your brain operating. I actually saw some, like the housing task force in Ridgewood. I saw how that operated. And I said, that actually got things done and even introduced legislation out of it, and that legislation got passed at the city council. So I think we could do stuff. I did the graffiti nuisance abatement. So, Paul Curtis said to me, you know, somebody wants to get a graffiti law passed, but no one seems to be able to get it going in the city council, and the Queens Civic Congress would like it to be, to be passed. So I went to them and I said, I'll do it. And I went to the vice president, and she's been around a long time. She's also an attorney. And she had been doing civic work like 20-something years. And she said, Charles, I give you credit for trying, but I don't think you're going to be able to get it done. That's what she said to me. And she knew a lot of people, and she knew a lot, and I don't think you'll be able to do it. So the real estate board was against it. The Bloom administration was against it. So I called up the council's office, and they said, well, first of all, I told them the version that they had introduced before, that nobody was even co-sponsoring, I said it was horrible. So I went into Peter Ballone's office, because it was under their committee, and he said, Charles, why don't you tell us what you want the law? And I said, well, here. We actually had like a version of law that we wanted, and I handed him, and the attorney, the counsel to the committee said, this is interesting, we could do this. So, make a long story short, they did introduce it, and they got a few co-sponsors, but had all this opposition. So I called the counsel's office, and he said, why are you guys against this? And he goes, we think it's unconstitutional. So I had done some research. So I said, well, why are there 20 cities in the United States that have a similar law to this? How do they get passed? How do they pass constitutional muster? He says, I don't know. What? Oh, shit. I don't know. This paper's flying. I was surprised you could do this stuff. So I called up the City of Chicago's General Counsel's office, and I said to him, you know, we're looking at trying to get this law done in New York City. The General Counsel's office here, and Mayor's General Counsel office thinks it's unconstitutional. Did you ever have this tested? He goes, oh yeah, went to court, it passed. I said, really? He said, do you have any legal briefs? Do you have, he sent me everything. Yeah, so I gave it to the New York City's Counsel's office. He said, Chicago says it passed in past court challenge. So that was them. So before, you could not go after anybody who did not want to have their graffiti cleaned off their building. Nothing. You could do nothing to them. Anybody. A homeowner. So what we did is we wrote it that homeowners would not have to pay for it. The city would pay for cleaning. Now, the city already had a cleaning program. They would have to go to court to challenge, they could get a ticket, but they wouldn't pay a fine, but they had to, unless they didn't clean the building. And the city could go in and clean the building. And they said that this was constitutional. It passed. Business owners, however, could get fines, though they were limited in how much their fines could be. Right. Well, it's considered a nuisance because, you know, there's a whole study on the bad effects of neighborhoods. You know, increased crime. It actually generates this sense of decline for the neighborhood. It can lower property values if it's extensive in a neighborhood. It lowers property values. It creates a sense of lawlessness. It actually increases crime. They did these studies. They know it. Right. Increases mental, it promotes good mental, right. Yeah. Yeah, it affects their mental state. Yeah. Look what the pandemic did to people. People went crazy over the pandemic. Yeah. Because that had more to do with the inability to have that human connection or interaction where you got locked up. Right. So I went to this. Eric, the best thing was, I just want to say that I went to the city council hearing on the law, and I'm sitting next to the real estate board. They spoke first and says, well, we're drawing our opposition to the law. I said, yeah, I knew it was going to pass. I knew it was going to pass when they withdraw it. We have no objection to the law, as written. And they were previously objecting to an earlier version. Yeah. So I think we could get stuff done. Yeah. Yeah. It's very hard. Right. Well, they came from committee. I had a couple of them, but majority of them came from other people on the committee. I came with one or two of them. Yeah. 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 Yeah, we have to see. I mean, hopefully we don't have a lot of work to do because everything's going well, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So. Yeah, yeah, so we're also going to ask the council people to send representatives, tell us what complaints you're getting, how can we work, help you. Yes. So I was also on the board of Greater Ridge Restoration. So Angela Marble was representing Greater Ridge Restoration. So I was one of the representatives for the Ridgewood property owners. We were supporting getting that whole situation fixed because we didn't want to see the neighborhood be destabilized. So we wanted those regular. So the one thing they decided to do was to push the legislation for the anti-harassment. There's a cease and desist. You can't even knock on a tenant's door after a certain time of night. The tenant says, I don't want to hear from you about this issue. I don't want to hear any proposals. They're not allowed to contact them for a certain period of time. We sent out letters to all the tenants telling them to not take an offer because you're being they're making too low an offer to you. Call the restoration office first and we'll advise you on it. Do not do anything with your landlord unless you call Greater Ridge Restoration first. So we were doing that. We sent letters to all the tenants. It became harder, I think, for them after that. Yeah, so there was a law passed. I only read like a news article that gave you very sketchy things. The easy thing is they say no investment group can bid.
So the people who were here at the beginning of the meeting, a lot less. So 36 people voted.
So they need one more than 30.
I want to make sure I'm not the only one who thought that. That's how
Wait a minute. I'm trying to do something like divide 30.
Well, yeah, when you get the neighborhood cabinet houses, black cabinets, brown.
Okay, folks, pay attention, please.
Okay, so we have 4 people who have a clear majority. Carol Bradley, Benovic Bradley, has 28 votes. So she was the top vote getter. Congratulations. Betsy Chen, 27 votes. Rachel Karachi, 22. And Diego Cleary, 19. All right, so congratulations to all of you. I look forward to working with you. And Mr. Arcuri, you could take it from here. Oh, yeah, parliamentarian, sorry. We have one person nominated for parliamentarian. I keep forgetting that. Daniel Heredia. Are there any others nominated for parliamentarian? Going once? Going twice?
There being no further nominations, Secretary casts 1 vote to elect Daniel Heredia for parliamentarian, and if he'll step over here, I'll give him a copy of the bylaws right now.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. So I want to thank everyone for being so active and doing everything you had to do. It's been a good run. Is there any old business? Any new business? Ted Renz, since you're not here, we'll let you speak anyway.
I gotta sign in still.
No, you're not. You're not allowed to sign in after the meeting has run for an hour and a half or 2 hours. So say what you want to say.
So, sorry, I had an event that I had to go to with the bid managers, so sorry. So I'm just, you should have gotten an announcement. Herman Hochberg, which many of you remember, was a board member here for many years. He was the longtime president of the Myrtle Avenue bid, and he passed away October 19th, 2023. And the 71st Avenue Plaza has been renamed in his honor, and it was passed with Councilman Holden and Adrian Adams, the speaker. There will be a ceremony June 25th at 5 p.m. at the plaza, and there will be a reception at the Ridgewood Savings Bank from 5:45 to 6:45, and the annual meeting of the Myrtle Avenue bid will then commence at 6:45. We will have a special presentation from the MTA on the IVX line, which is proposed to come through our neighborhood. And if everything comes to fruition, there should be a new stop on Myrtle and Fresh Pond. Probably long before I'm dead, but anyway, that's something. But excuse me, June 25th. And you're all invited, and you should have got an email on this about a month ago. So if not, I'll send it out again. But you're all invited. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So before I ask for a motion, our new chairperson will ask for a motion for adjournment.
Thank you, Vincent. A motion to adjourn? Kathy Massey. Seconded Walter Clayton. Thank you. Thanks for your confidence.